Chris, you spoke with Brett today. What did he tell you about why he chose not to come to camp?
Well, it really stemmed from his conversations that he's had at least twice with Ted Thompson, the general manager of the Packers. They spoke once on Thursday. There's a cell phone ringing, by the way.
Uh-oh.
They spoke once on Thursday and once on Saturday. And in those conversations, Brett said, listen, am I going to be welcome in the building when I show up? And Ted said, basically, according to Brett, you can't do that. It's just not, right now we need more time. And Ted asked him for 2 or 3 more days to resolve it. I think Brett doesn't trust a lot of things that are going on in Green Bay right now, so I think he felt like that was the best thing to do is stay away from camp. Even though he said he has signed that letter of reinstatement, he has not sent it via the fax to the league office yet.
Now, does he recognize why this team has an issue with his outright release?
Well, he understands that they just don't want to give him his freedom. And Brett's feelings are, listen, they want me to stay retired. That's the bottom line. That's obvious because Brett offered to go in and compete for his job, and they basically said, Aaron Rodgers is our starter. The message being you can't compete for your job. Well, do you want him as a $12 million backup? They really don't want that, and they don't want him to play for another team, and Brett believes they're asking for a king's ransom with the teams they are talking to. And if you give him his release, I think it's obvious that the team that fits best for Brett because of the offense and the fact they're going to be a contender is the Minnesota Vikings, and I think everybody knows that's not going to happen.
Brett in a Vikings uniform, no, I just don't see the Packers allowing that to go on. What about other teams? There's been talk, obviously, about the Jets and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, the Jets and Buccaneers told the Packers they're interested. The Jets have actually had a conversation with Bus Cook, who represents Brett. He's Brett's agent. It hasn't been to the point, I don't think, where the Jets have had a direct conversation with Favre. And Favre right now, in fact, he said that Thompson asked him, are you interested in a trade? And Brett said, yeah, but not necessarily to the teams you're talking to. So I think Brett just wants more control in the situation. He certainly has spoken with the commissioner, Roger Goodell, most recently on Saturday. Just trying, I think, Goodell trying to be a mediator, but not really stick his nose in it too far. So clearly they're at an impasse. Will we know something by Tuesday? It appears to be that way. Certainly nobody wants to go with the status quo right now for much longer. I hope not anyway.
Now, you had said that he has not sent in that paperwork to file for reinstatement. Why hasn't he done that yet?
Well, it's really, I think in a way, Brett didn't say this, but I think in a way Brett really doesn't enjoy the circus atmosphere that's going to come when he does show up. And because Ted Thompson asked him for a couple of extra days, because he knows he's not welcome. And, is he going to, what are they going to do with him when he is on the field? Is he really going to be running the scout team or the second or third team? Is he just going to be doing individual drills? I think, there's part of Brett that's saying the obvious, which is, I started every game for this team for the past 16 years. I went to a couple Super Bowls. I won 3 MVPs. I've won more games than any quarterback in NFL history, et cetera, and you're actually going to tell me that Aaron Rodgers, you prefer to play with Aaron Rodgers? And I think that Brett's still trying to get a handle on that, even though his agent and his wife Deanna want him to go in now.
Wow, this situation is so perplexing and complex. How do we imagine this to finally play out? I mean, obviously they're talking about a trade, so we're thinking a trade is going to actually happen?
Well, Favre doesn't know how it's going to finish, and I don't think the Packers know, so I really don't know. You could speculate. I think the teams involved, the Jets and Bucks, the two teams that have expressed interest, I think they're going to have a deadline themselves. It might be something like Tuesday. And I think that's what Favre's fear is that everybody's going to go away. There's not going to be a trade. If he does report, they might just take him right up to the start of the regular season, then cut him so they don't have to pay him $12 million, and then Brett's left out in the cold. So I think really it's hard to predict what's going to happen right this moment.